few years ago, I found out I was bipolar. I told my mom. I was like, Mom, I got diagnosed as bipolar. You know what she did? Immediately, she took out her phone and Googled cool, famous people who were bipolar. Isn't that so sweet? To make me feel less alone. She was like, Drew, you're gonna be fine. Listen to all these awesome people that are bipolar. Kurt Cobain, Robin Williams, Anthony Bourdain. I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a damn minute. My parents were very protective when I was a kid, but I think sometimes it backfired. Like, I'll tell you a story. When I was 8 years old, my best friend died in a horrible freak accident. Stay with me, I'm okay. I'm only telling you this info because without it, the joke isn't funny. So he died. And my parents made an executive decision. They decided that because I was already depressed, to keep me from feeling worse, they were gonna shield me from bad things that happened in the news. They were like, Drew's in a fragile place. So for the sake of his mental health, if anything scary or depressing happens on the news, we're gonna make sure he doesn't find out about it. On paper, that's not a bad idea, but my friend died in late August 2001. Which is a bad time to stop telling someone about the news. Guys, I found out about 9/11 in December 2002. People say 9/11, never forget. I'm like, there's nothing to forget. Nobody told me shit, okay? Nobody told me. That's why I don't like 9/11 conspiracy theorists. They'll be like, man, the government didn't tell us the truth about 9/11. I'm like, forget the government. Mary Landry didn't tell us the truth about 9/11. Let's look at the real culprit. In my life, I've had two best friends that I knew since I was a baby. One of them was Tucker, the one from that last story. And the other one was Tucker's twin sister, Ellie. Ellie was the first person to get me drunk. Do you know what it's like to get blackout drunk with someone you've known since you were a baby? That means I knew her from when I peed my pants in front of her all the way up to when I peed my pants in front of her. Good night, everybody. That's the show. Thank you for coming out. Whenever me and Ellie would go out drinking and we were pre-gaming, taking shots at home before we bar hop, we would say the dumbest stuff in the world and we thought we sounded awesome. Like one time we're pre-gaming at Ellie's place, little group of us. Ellie holds up her shot all dramatic and she goes, tonight, we're gonna tear this city apart. And in retrospect, we did not. The city was fine. In a way, it was torn apart, but that's more of a socioeconomic issue. We didn't do that. And you're never gonna turn on the news, just see breaking news. The city is now torn apart after Drew Landry went to a dive bar, had one margarita, got a headache, and went home. That's never gonna happen. Ellie would always give me advice whenever I was in a long-term monogamous relationship. She'd say, Drew, you and your girlfriend do everything together. You guys are codependent. And I said, I don't know what codependent means. Hold on while I ask my girlfriend. Ellie was, best friend ever had, closest friend ever had, oldest friend ever had. And then last year, Ellie died. And then a week after that, my girlfriend, one of her best friends, died. So we were grieving our best friends together at the same time. And that's when I was like, shit, Ellie was right. Me and my girlfriend do everything together. And when Ellie died, my girlfriend went all out. She got me gifts and flowers and cards, took me out to these nice, expensive dinners. Then a week later, My girlfriend was like, Drew, my friend died. And I was like, I don't know if I can afford this. I'm gonna be honest with you. When Ellie died, I immediately flew to Baltimore for the memorial. I hadn't been to a memorial in a while. I forgot sometimes to have a little booklet where you signed your name to show that you came and paid your respects. But I'm so used to comedy. So I walked in and I saw a notebook with a list of names. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? They're doing an open mic at a time like this? So I did 5 minutes, I did a set. The priest was like, would anyone like to say a few words? And I was like, yeah, what's up with these dating apps? Am I right? Are y'all on these apps? The day Ellie died, I actually did have a show that night, and I canceled. I didn't do the show, but the booker didn't understand. I called him. I was like, hey, man, about the show tonight, my best friend just died. And he was like, oh, so I'll see you at 7:30? I'm like, you won't see me at 7:30. That'd be like if after JFK got shot, they continued the parade. Death creates a fascinating dynamic with art. Sometimes you have a loved one, they had a favorite movie, a favorite song, a favorite album. They die, now that piece of art means more to you. For example, i.e., my mother, her best friend was named Margaret. Margaret's favorite movie was It's a Wonderful Life. Margaret passed away, now my mom loves It's a Wonderful Life, which is perfect because it's a beautiful classic movie about the meaning of life and family and friendship and love and community. It's perfect. I'm not as lucky as my mom because Ellie's favorite movie was Sausage Party. Do you know what it's like to have a sentimental connection to the hit motion picture Sausage Party? Have you ever cried to a tortilla voiced by Jason Statham? For those of you who have never seen Sausage Party, it ends with a 10-minute scene of hundreds of animated talking food items having a graphic pansexual orgy. And this movie is my Let It Be. Ellie was going through her own stuff, so she'd periodically disappear from my life. She'd disappear, come back, disappear, come back. When she came back, it was exciting. It was like the McRib of friendships. And it's because the way Tucker passed away was incomprehensible. It was beyond tragic. It was horrific. It was terrifying. There's no way to even attempt to make it funny. Tucker died because he got crushed by an elevator. And my mom, when I was dealing with all the PTSD of my childhood best friend being crushed to death by an elevator, my mom was like, Drew, you should find a support group for other people with this problem. I was like, Mom, there's no one else with this problem. There's no support group for people who live in Final Destination 2. It doesn't exist. After Tucker died, I developed two big fears for a few years. One of them, obviously, was elevators. For years, I didn't take elevators, I only took the stairs. I got over that fear, I wish I didn't, because people that only take the stairs are in amazing shape. Personal trainers don't want you to know this. But trauma is the quickest way to a beach bod. I call it PTSD 90X. That's a cute one, you can steal it. Trauma is the quickest way to a beach bod. Fellas, that's why next time you're in a bar and you see a woman with an amazing body, don't tell her she looks hot. Ask her if she's okay. Every great ass comes with a tragic story. That's what I've learned in my life. So elevators, that was one of the fears. But my other biggest fear was Garfield. Imagine if I didn't explain and just moved on. My biggest fear was Garfield. Anyways, I was at the zoo. No. Y'all ever been to the zoo? Oh, no. Tucker loved Garfield. So for years, whenever I saw Garfield in any capacity, it was a triggering thing for me. Do you know how embarrassing it is for your biggest fear to be Garfield? Taking girls out to dinner, freaking out when they order lasagna. Ideally, your biggest fear should be something that could actually hurt you. Your biggest fear should be hurricanes or tigers or Ezra Miller, something that could actually really hurt you. For years, when someone asked me, what's your biggest fear? I had to look them in the eye and tell them that my biggest fear is a fat cartoon cat who hates Mondays even though he doesn't have a job. That's my biggest fear. When I was younger, I went through a phase where whenever I had a show that was a big deal to me or a show I was nervous for, I would write 4 Tuck on my knuckles, 4 T-U-C-K, to dedicate the show to Tucker. And Ellie would come to a lot of my shows, give me rides to shows. So one night I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna show her the 4 Tuck. It's gonna mean a lot to her. She's gonna appreciate it. She did not appreciate it. She read it and she was like, Drew, why did you write I fuck on your knuckles? It's like, no, it's 4 Tuck. Why would I ever write I fuck on my hand? Why? Is that in case I ever get amnesia and want to remind myself that I get bitches? Is that it? Some kind of memento situation? I'm like, I wake up somewhere mysterious. I'm like, where am I? Who am I? Apparently I fuck. That's clue number 1. We're gonna crack the case. I have an even weirder one. One time my friend Kevin glanced at it, and I'm not saying this is funny, I'm not saying it makes any sense, but for some reason I'll never understand. He looked at it and he said, does that say Jew? I'm like, that's not even the same amount of letters. They have no letters in common. You need to get tested for dyslexia, Kevin. Furthermore, why would I write Jew on my hand? Would that be clue number 2 if I had amnesia? Just be like, who am I? Okay, I fuck, and I'm Jewish. I don't know. I must be Jeff Goldblum. That's the only... So because of all this Tucker stuff, when I was in high school, I was put in a mental hospital. Stay with me, this gets hilarious. I was put in a mental hospital. And here's what I learned. When you're in a mental hospital, everyone in the mental hospital thinks they're the only person there that shouldn't be there. They all think they're the only one there that's not crazy. My first day, I'm in the cafeteria with this dude. I'm like, man, I don't belong here. I'm not crazy. He was like, yeah, I'm not crazy either. I was like, see, you get it. I was at school and they took me here. And he was like, yeah, man, I was just hanging out on the moon and they came and they got me. I was like, oh, shit. I'll never forget one day in the mental hospital, in group therapy, I mentioned that I do stand-up. The counselor pulled me aside. He was like, you do stand-up? I was like, yeah. He was like, okay, tomorrow in group therapy, I want you to do stand-up. Because comedy is the best therapy. And I said, no, it isn't. You should know this. You're a therapist. But I did it. The next day in group therapy, I got up and I did stand-up. And this was the moment in my life when I learned the true power of comedy. Because I got up in a room filled with suicidal teenagers. And all I did was tell a few jokes. And by the end of my set, everyone in the room was somehow even more suicidal. One of them killed himself that night. I'm gonna be honest. I like to think it wasn't my fault, but his suicide note was my set list. So who's to say? In the cafeteria of the hospital, they had a phone that we could use in the evening. So every single night, I would use that phone and I would talk to Ellie all night because Ellie had also been to that same mental hospital. So we would just like spill tea about the nurses. I'd be like, man, Beth has gotten hot over the summer. You gotta see this. One night, me and Ellie were having a conversation that was actually kind of therapeutic, and it got interrupted by this other patient named Joey. So we're on the phone, we're talking about Garfield Gate. She was like, Drew, don't let Tucker's death ruin something as innocuous as Garfield, as little as a cartoon cat. As a matter of fact, make it a positive thing. From now on, whenever you see Garfield, don't think about the way Tucker died. Think about our friendship. And before I could say anything, this patient, Joey, snatches the phone from me. He hangs it up, and he calls a radio station. The reason he was calling a radio station is because they were having a contest. They were giving out free Kanye tickets. This was a simpler time. This is when Kanye was crazy in a fun way. You know what I mean? Like, he was cocky, but we thought he was pro-Semitic, if that's a word. It was that. I'm trying to paint a picture of a time where someone who isn't a Nazi would go to a Kanye concert. It was... By the way, here's how fucked up Kanye is. I've spent 15 minutes talking about my dead friends, but as soon as I bring up Kanye, everyone's like, oh man, this got dark. We were having a nice evening. Why'd you bring that up? So yeah, they were giving out free Ye tickets to the 7th caller. So Joey's like, hey man, I'm gonna win these Kanye tickets. I was like, dude, you're not gonna win the Kanye tickets. He was like, I'm winning the Kanye tickets. Back off before I knock your lights out. And I'm like, all of the lights? All of the lights? All of the lights? You're a motherfucking monster. No one man should have all that power. How could you be so heartless? And he was like, man, I'm 4 or 5 seconds from wildin'. I was like, that one hasn't come out yet. And then as fate would have it, Joey won the fucking tickets. That's when it got really awkward, because the radio guy was like, congratulations, you're the 7th caller, you won the tickets. So where are you calling from? The moon. I've been to a lot of weddings this past year, and I love it. I love seeing my friends get married. But it's been heartbreaking to think about how I'll never get to see Ellie get married. But then I realized at least they're the same thing. Because I got a lot of dead friends, and I got a lot of married friends, and I hang out with all those friends the same amount. The day Ellie died was the worst day of my life. And I saw the Green Lantern movie. And I remember, terrible day. But then later that night, I had what I can only describe as a spiritual experience. You're gonna think I'm crazy. You're gonna make fun of me. But I swear to God, that night, I heard Tucker talking to me. He was communicating with me. I'll never forget it. I heard the news. I'm in shock. I'm in my living room, I'm sitting on my couch, and I'm just zoning out. And all of a sudden, I hear Tucker's voice. Now, it was Tucker as a grown man, like if Tucker got to grow up. And he was comforting me. I'm sitting on the couch, and I just hear this man's voice say, there is no obstacle that you can't overcome. I was like, holy shit, thank you. And then he said, if you just be strong and believe in yourself and work hard, you can accomplish all of your dreams. I was like, holy shit, he's right, thank you. And then he said, nobody knows what's in the vaccine. I was like, that's a hot button issue. We don't have to discuss it. And then he said, cancel culture is ruining comedy. I was like, getting off topic. Then I looked around. I realized that's not Tucker at all. My roommate's listening to the Joe Rogan podcast. What if I opened this door and inside it was just an alternate universe where Ellie's doing a show about me? Wow! Ellie was my best friend, man. I love her. I miss her every day. So I want you guys to do me a favor. When you leave the show tonight, call your best friend. Tell them you love them. And then ask them, are you free tonight? And if they say yeah, then you're gonna tell them that tonight, we're gonna tear this city apart. I'm Drew Landry. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
1, 2.
Think of me, my love, when I'm gone. Mon corps est ailleurs, mais mon cœur reste avec toi, pense à toi.
Will you forget me? If one day you went and you left me, or when that day comes when I pass on and I'm gone. I've been awake just tossing in bed, try to escape the thoughts in my head, but every time I try to close my eyes, it's you that I'm seeing instead. I wanna know if I was gone, would you notice? How long would you go till you found somebody else? But I don't even wanna think about it, so I go to sleep, but then I dream about it. Got a feeling I ain't never felt before, and honestly I don't know how to feel about it. So look, I just wanna know, am I the only one who thinks about this? Tell me, do you too? Yeah, scared I didn't show enough of me, so if I die you never really knew. Look, they say you died 2 times. First time when your day comes, and the second time is the last time that anybody brings your name up.